Hello, guys. This is going to be very quick. I hope you enjoy. I'm sorry for not posting in 2 weeks minimum. Please enjoy. Chapter 4. They did what? A dark green silhouette in the edge of the woods in the picture. And I look at them and I say, "What is that?" My grandpa says, "That is the god your parents made a deal with, but they are in their hiding form." And I say, "What? Why? But why green?" My grandmother chuckles and says, "Because remember, that used to be your favorite color at that time." I get embarrassed because that was true. It did used to be my favorite color. And I say, "That is true, but why my favorite color?" I try to understand. I try not to see how ironic it was, and I say, "Wait, doesn't that mean it's my color of my now favorite color?" And my grandma says, "Maybe if it wants to, it depends if it does or doesn't want to." I nod and I ask, "What do you know about the deal?" My grandpa says, "They have lived for centuries and an ancestor had the same deal and looked exactly like you, but her personality was cold and mean. They claimed her their Poppy. But a few weeks after they were together, they found out, but others found out, but she decided not to be loyal, and she decided to pretend that she was forced even though they gave her a choice, and she was able to survive, and they got chased away." I looked shocked and upset. Why would someone do that to someone who they loved? And I say, "Why would she do that to them?" And my grandma says, "Because she was selfish. And now you were put in a deal like this. It seems like the god had cursed her after this betrayal. But sweetheart, you're more kind and sweet, not mean or rude, to people you care about." I nod my head, knowing it was true. Later in the morning, I put on a t-shirt and shorts and sneakers, and I go for a walk into the woods, trying to clear my head from all the drama that has been happening. And I say to myself, 2 more days until my birthday, but I don't even know if they would let me continue going to school. Wait, I realized that I've been missing school for 2 days of school because of all this drama, and I realize I even am missing school right now. And I say, "Crap." I start running back to my grandparents' house, and I get my backpack and I run and get onto my bike and rides to school fast. And the first period of class is about to end. It was my least favorite subject, but I at least have to get to school before that. I arrive at school in the middle of second period. I am at the front office getting myself signed in. That is when my best friend Michael comes into the office late as well, and we just look at each other like "You're the reason" is my excuse. And I say to Michael, "Dentist appointment?" And Michael says, "I was driving you back." We both nod and write that as our excuse. And during lunch at the top of the roof of the school. We are eating lunch, and I tell Michael all has been happening, and Michael says, "What? So I am losing my best friend to a god, Wendigo, and a werewolf because your parents made a deal with them?" And I say, well, technically it was just to the god my parents made a deal with, but yes. Michael is shocked and he asks, can I at least visit you, or will you be able to go to school still? And I say, I don't know, but I will be able to be staying at a cabin 2 miles west from the lake we used to go to as kids. And Michael says, you mean the lake near that tree house we used to play in? And I nod. End of chapter 4. No cliffhanger kind of in this chapter. Chapter 5. You dyed your hair. What? The next day, one day before my birthday, me and Michael go to the lake for an early birthday hangout. Swimming time. Because I had to before I had to leave. So we got our swimsuits on. I am wearing a swim shirt and swim shorts, and Michael is has swim shorts on. Once we arrive, I just go into the water, laughing and yelling, "Last one to the other side of the lake has to ask the ugliest guy to school out." Michael jumps in as well. After a few hours, I get tired, and I go to the shore of the lake, and I lay down to sleep. But before I fall asleep, Michael gets out and says, "Here is the cake I got you." And I smile, and we sing happy birthday to me. We eat some cake and mess around, just throwing cake at each other. As we clean up, Michael hears something from deeper in the woods, but he shrugs it off, and we pack up to leave, and we walk back to my grandparents' house. Once there, Michael looks back since he dropped something on the ground. He sees the Wendigo staring from the edge of the woods, and Michael says, "What the? Asher, what is that?" I say, "Oh, that's just the Wendigo I was talking about yesterday." Michael and I head inside as he freaks out about how tall the Wendigo is, and we put on our normal clothes because we get ready to go to the store to get some hair dye. We get into Michael's truck and we start driving to the grocery store. And Michael says, So what color are you going to dye your hair?" And I say, was wanting a strawberry blonde, like a slight pink in the blonde, but my hair is so dark we will need to bleach it. And once we arrive at the store, we arrive at the store and we get into the store, and I start looking for the dye, and Michael gets the bleach for hair. While I do that, I ask an employee, "Hey, excuse me, can I get color that is a strawberry blonde?" The employee looks at me in disgust as she sees me in a skirt. The employee is rude. The employee says, "Sorry, we don't help femboys." And I can tell she is not a nice person. So I say, without trying to start a scene, "Okay." I go to a much nicer employee. The rude employee didn't expect that, and I ask the nicer employee, "Can you please help me find a strawberry blonde, but with more of a slight pink in it?" The nicer employee, aka the damn manager, says, "Yes, I can. What is wrong with that with the other employee, may I ask? And I say, oh, she was telling me how she doesn't help femboys. The manager is shocked and helps me find the hair dye, and the manager goes to the rude employee and fires the rude employee while me and Michael pay for the bleach and hair dye. While we drive back, Michael asks, "What was that about?" And he can clearly can tell I did something without realizing it again. And I say, "Oh, a rude employee insulted me for being a femboy," and I went to the other employee, aka the manager, and I got the hair dye. Michael says, "Well, that doesn't sound too bad." And I say, before he can answer, and I told the manager that what the employee did, and the employee got fired. I smiled like a menace I am. Michael looks at me like I am a menace and says, "The hell, Asher? Actually, why am I surprised, actually?" He flicks me on the forehead, which makes my rose mark glow. The blue is not the blue it normally does, more like a slight red, but then it goes back to normal, no longer glowing. And Michael says, "What was that supposed to is it supposed to do that?" And I say, "I don't know, probably not important." I was damn wrong. It was important. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Asher, stop swearing in front of the kids. It's fine. They have heard worse from your hunting day stories. Under backwards question mark, backwards question mark, backwards question mark. Asher, listen to him. Unless it's a part of the story, then don't swear. Sigh. Fine. Okay, back to the story. So once I got back to my grandparents' house, and me and Michael start walking to the porch, and we got into the house and start bleaching my hair with the hair bleach, not actual bleach. While we let the bleach set in my hair, we played some Uno in the middle of the game. How the hell do you keep getting the good cards? I yell while losing, not knowing Michael has been able to see my cards the whole time, since I keep accidentally putting my cards down while getting a drink of water every 5 minutes. Once we finish the bleach and start putting the strawberry blonde slight pink hair dye, as we let it set in my hair, my grandma comes in with cookies, chocolate chip cookies. So we start eating those, and after we finish eating the cookies, my hair was done. So we wash and dry it, and I look in the mirror, and it looks amazing. I instantly love it, and I go to my grandpa, and he said, look, he sees my hair color, and he's like, "You dyed your hair what color?" That was his look on the face, in the face. The end of chapter 5. I have my next chapter already planned out, but if you do have any ideas for chapter 7 after the next chapter, chapter 6, and I will post a picture of what Asher in this story looks like, since I do think it will help y'all understand what Asher looks like. Then I will post after that one of the Wendigo and werewolf in their human forms when they become more main characters. Anyways, bye. They do become main characters in next chapter anyways.